However, we cannot bypass Joshua or Jesus in order to have a direct connection to the Father. Our connection can only be through Joshua or Jesus. This is what it means that He is the way, the truth, and the life, as we just explained. When you read Victor N. Alexander's translation that we're presenting in his videos, listen to it, you get that clearly. He's added an audio commentary to his translation of the Gospel of John. Well, we could one day bring a video on that and so forth. And here's this: Paul wrote his letters to the Greeks, and therefore all the New Testament was originally Greek. This is the main justification of Western theology, in claiming that the New Testament was originated in Greek. That's as silly as saying God was black, Jesus was black, everyone was black, there was black, all this sort of stuff, right? It just isn't true. And it didn't come from Africa, it didn't start from Africa, because Africans had pantheon, many gods. Okay? How do we know? Well, go to sacredtext.com, look up Africa, and find out what they were, their old folklore, etc., what they actually believed. There's some natives in maybe the 17th century or something like that were approached by the missionaries, and they basically said this was what we believed in, not the Christianity. We didn't have that Bible stuff there, okay, until later on when the missionaries came. The missionaries got really sick, and the Africans helped them to get better, and so forth. So if it started in Africa, where's the African scriptures? Okay. There was scriptures that Philip converted the Ethiopian eunuch, the chariot driver, who believed, okay, he converted to the faith, and he went back to Ethiopia and told his people, and that's the start of the Coptic church, etc., etc. Okay? So they never had it in Africa until Philip converted this eunuch chariot driver according to the scriptures. He went back and told his people. They became believers. What this does is that all those followers of Yahshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, from the East are ignored and forgotten, and their faith is denied. Who are these followers of Yahshua, Jesus? They are descendants of the Asherite in northern Mesopotamia, such as the Surai, Atarai, Assyrians, or the Asherites. The descendants of the Babylonians in southern Mesopotamia, such as the Chaldeans in Ur of Chaldea, or Babylonia. In southern Mesopotamia, such as the Chaldeans and Sumerians, because they're all related. See, the Sumerians faded out, they didn't actually die out, they merged into the Akkadian. The Akkadian eventually faded out, and it became the Babylonians. Merged into the Babylonian, then the Babylonian merged into the Chaldeans in Mesopotamia, Syria, and so forth. The balance of the Aramaic-speaking people in the Near East and the Holy Lands, the descendants of the small kingdoms that proliferated during the Greek and Roman empires, and the descendants of the African followers of Yahshua Mashiach. So it spread to Africa eventually. So many of the Aramaic dialects are spoken there, such as the Ethiopians and the Copts, as we said, because Philip preached to the eunuch chariot driver in the scriptures, okay, and the Copts, the Coptics. So it didn't start in Africa with the Coptics. It was introduced through Philip to that eunuch chariot driver, who went back and told his people, and it spread like wildfire in Ethiopia, around that area. There are millions of Aramaic-speaking peoples in Asia, from the Apostolic Asia, India, China, and the Far East, because Thomas, etc., travelled across those lands. They found great reception in China, okay, and in India, up until a point where the Brahmins got all jealous and ran Thomas through with a spear. He tried to run away from them. They killed him, they martyred him, and then they buried him in India somewhere, apparently. He's the body of Thomas, and he's the footprints of something like that, according to that history. The Armenians, Maronites, okay, Maronites, Malchites, Byzantine, Syrian, and literally hundreds of other ethnicities. They all forgot what it was when it comes to mentioning who are the followers of Yahshua Mashiach. We got a comment saying, live stream that the Maronites were Africans or something, or the Egyptians. Wrong. We verified that's wrong. They're completely different people. They were of the Syriac persuasion. They were Syrians. Okay, and so forth. So that's more information here. Joshua, or Jesus, knew that the scriptures would be misinterpreted. Nevertheless, he followed them and showed his disciples how he fulfilled them. He wanted them to spread his teaching regarding the scriptures by his example and their adherence to what he taught them. That is why his teachings are so crucial to an understanding of the prophecies regarding them. So Thomas and I, Peter, Bartholomew, they taught these Asherai, Surai, Assyrians, where they founded this original ancient apostolic church of the East, these high priests, etc., appointed high priests. They taught them exactly what they were to follow, and they've been doing it for over 18 centuries amidst persecutions, murder, being martyred, all that sort of stuff by the Roman Empire, the Roman Catholics, Tamerlane, Genghis Khan and the Mongols, the Kurds, ISIS at that time, because the Kurds pimped on them, oh, that's where they live, go get them, boys, all that sort of stuff, right? So they've gone through 18 centuries of persecution, but they've stuck to what they were dictated. Okay, they did break away from the Roman Catholic Church because they had some disagreements. Okay, and here's more information here. So we're going to go back to this video. We covered it extensively, explained it extensively.
Although other cultures had sacred writings, one thing that made the Jewish records so unique was the willingness to translate God's word into a language different from the original. We may take translation today for granted, but anciently it just wasn't done in relation to a sacred text. For a long time, it wasn't necessary. The Jewish Bible was written in Hebrew, and the Israelites spoke Hebrew. But when the people of Judah were carried into exile after the Babylonian conquest, their spoken language began to change.
So yeah, we already covered that Hebrew wasn't the language. There was a whole lot of people that merged, Abraham and his people, etc. They went on a journey to another land, Canaan, okay? This area here, where Israel is today. See, it's not in Africa. Okay? See the difference is this piece here that cuts in half. You know, here's Africa, here's the Levant. Okay? This is like a divider. This one here, this part here. Okay? This is all the Levant here. This is Africa, Egypt, etc. here. Okay? Maybe that's the Nile, and so forth. So here it's going to say something like this.
Away from their homeland and under the rule of the Babylonians, Jews began speaking Aramaic, a language commonly used by the people of many different lands and cultures as the language of public life and administration, much like English today. It was the official language of the Persian Empire, which replaced the Babylonians. For the Jews, speaking Aramaic caused a problem in their religious life because...
But if this is the Lishana Atika Saprea, the language of God, that he spoke to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and that the men at the Tower of Babel spoke, they spoke that one language. If it's from the Persian, then yes, that would be right, because Ziggurat, that tower, is actually a Persian term. Okay? So somewhere along the way, when these Persians invaded, these people spoke the Aramaic. They returned to that language, the original Aramaic, the scribal language of God, the Tab Asher, etc., which God spoke to Adam and Eve in the garden, and the men at the Tower of Babel spoke. It's kind of confusing, but we wondered why a Persian with the winged disc icon of was it Mazda, Ahura Mazda, Zoroastrian, said, "Hey, that's our symbol." We actually had the Mesopotamian winged disc icon, right? The Zoroastrian one has a taller figure in it with a ring and bird legs, whereas the Mesopotamian one just has the wings, which are actually flames of the Holy Spirit and actually wings. It doesn't have those long legs, and the person in the middle, the Son of Righteousness, wearing that crown, the crown of righteousness, which is supposed to represent Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Christ, is different. Okay, but apparently the Aramaic originated from here. So these Persians, when they invaded Babylon, okay, probably the Mesopotamian, Syrian, Chaldeans, right? Babylon, because that's what it's referred to, introduced this Aramaic. But if you have a look at the Bible, you'll find that Aram was one of the descendants of Noah. Okay, he's the forefather of the Arameans. So he was speaking a certain language, which was then termed Aramaic. This here is the end prefix. It's a Greek Latin loaned word, which means belonging to. This is the language spoken by these people. They were the holders or the possessors of that language. This is Latin, Greek Latin, loan word. It's a end suffix or prefix. Okay. It is also ear, which is the same. Okay, but it means the land, right? These were the possessors of that particular land. They were there. They lived there originally in that geographical location. Okay, so carry on. Okay, Aramaic caused a problem in the Jewish religious life because
the common Israelite could no longer understand the language of Scripture. When they were allowed to return to their homeland under the Persian ruler Cyrus, this language problem may have been the challenge that Nehemiah and Ezra were striving to overcome in 455 BC. The Levites read from the book of the law of God, making it clear and giving them meaning so that the people understood what was being read.
See, like Jonah went to Nineveh to warn the Ninevites, the Asherai, the Syrians. They occupied it, the people of that city, the king, etc., that God was going to bring a wrath upon them for their sins, for their idolatry, etc., etc. The king listened intently to what Jonah, son of the dove, or Jonah, had to say, and he realised the one true God. So he told his people, put on sackcloth, throw dust on yourself, even on the animals, destroy Asheroth, all those sort of idols, the maypole, and convert you to this one true God of Jonah. Okay. So then they had this Nineveh library, etc., etc. Later on, probably through Ashurbanipal, and he said to his people, he commissioned certain people to go find the originals, mythos books, right, scrolls, text, whatever, and bring them back. If they couldn't, well, he was happy with copies, because how we term it, he was a cuneiform tablet worm, you might say today. It's like equivalent to a bookworm. He just loved that information. So he had this library made at Nineveh, and he stored all those clay tablets. And then later on it was invaded and destroyed, buried, until Henry Layard and his Arabic Muslim friend, assistant, helped him. They uncovered it, they discovered it and uncovered it, then shipped those about 50,000, 30,000 to 50,000 clay tablets to the British Museum. Some were broken, unreadable, etc., but they shipped them there. And this Victor Alexander, with his wife, went around the world apparently and looked at the ancient Mesopotamian winged bulls, the artifacts, etc., and he found the cuneiform on them, and then underneath was the ancient Aramaic. So he translated both to the nearest English equivalent, and that's what we're bringing you through our videos. So this Aramaic was supposedly spoken outside the synagogues, okay, so like everything else, like your politics, whatever, okay, and the Hebrew is supposedly spoken in the temple, or holy things, right, all things retaining to God and holiness, or holy writs, right.